We are live. All right, call to order. Village of Villa Park Economic Development Commission meeting for January 2025. We'll do a roll call vote. Director McLaughlin. Hello. Michelle House.
Here.
Tony Otto here. Gotta, I believe he's Ami.
Good job.
JP Hotchbaum.
Here.
Larry Calvert.
Here.
Ethan Tudor-Leon. Patrice Gallagher.
Here.
And John Drogas.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Okay. All right, we have enough for a quorum. We'll bring this meeting to order. Everybody welcome to 2025. Hope everybody had a good holidays and break. Approval, if I could get approval of the minutes from the December meeting. Everybody's had a chance to look at them. Motion to approve from Goddard. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second JP. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Brings us on to new business, the review of the TIF incentive redevelopment agreement for, is it 110 South Villa or 100 South Villa?
It will be addressed 100 South Villa.
Okay.
Currently, it's 100 through 110 because it's two buildings.
Okay.
But those buildings won't be there, so we're starting to use the 100 South Villa.
Okay, so approved TIF incentive redevelopment agreement for 100 South Villa Avenue, known as the Union.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully everybody had a chance to read through that packet. Did you want to do a small presentation on it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I can do high level and I can get into the weeds as you guys ask questions. I'm here to get you comfortable so that we can get a recommendation and a
Sure.
vote by the end of the meeting. So,
Okay.
so yeah, real high level. I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of the Union Project. It's a 238 apartment, 7,000 square foot commercial facing villa, two-story parking deck, 5 stories of residential above it. 406 total parking spaces, of which 94 will be owned by the village for public. Those will all be on the first floor as well. And the total project cost is about $83 million for all that. It's a fully amenitized building. It's leasing office on site, building engineer on site, pool, spa, workout room. Like it's a fully enclosed, high quality, quality deal. So the project itself is in TIF 7, the St. Charles corridor, and they meet the requirements for TIF assistance. And so that is in the form of a general obligation alternate revenue source bond. And they're requesting $13 million of bond money to be spent, which will be put toward the project basically day one. So it's part of their initial capital stack to get the project off the ground. The RDA is structured so that there is some assurances on both parties, the village going for the bonds and the developer, that they're actually going to build this thing. So that upon approval of the zoning and subdivision, then the village board will do an authorizing ordinance to sell the bonds. They won't actually sell the bonds though. It just gives the bond council and our Spirit Financial to go out and get those bonds and cut that deal, but not close on them. So that will give the developer the assurance that, okay, the village is now committed, so that they can then go formalize their financing with the ordinance from the village says they're closing on these bonds, right? Because nobody actually wants to go first. So we have to we're going to give you this. Great. Now you go get this.
Baby
and
steps,
so,
baby steps.
yes, correct. So then they're going to formalize their financing and prepare that closing statement with the date that they're going to close, which tells us when we can then, that window when we can actually do our bond sale and actually close on it. Because when we close on those bonds, we get that money and it hits our account. And so the bond sale and the closing on the financing are going to happen nearly as simultaneous as we can possibly do, but we understand there is flexibility in the actual market that it may take, up to a week of flexibility in there. And then the development will commence 30 days after that closing. So once all the money gets hit, it's off to the races. And that's all structured in the RDA. The RDA is like an 80-page document, so I didn't attach it. It's mostly legal nonsense, but I wanted to give you at least the highlights here. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean from an economic development perspective? So if this development gets off the ground in 2025, which is what we're all shooting for here, is that it has a projected net increment in property taxes over the remaining life of the TIF of just over $33.5 million. So right now it's zero because it's village owned. There's no tax bill on it. It's a $0, and that's so when you build what I just described, it has significant value. That tax bill is looking at about $1 million a year, right?
Nice.
Add it all up, 33.6 mil.
Okay.
The bond payment is basically a loan. It's a different fancy type of loan. Including fees will be taken out in about 14.8 million. So 13 goes directly to the project. The remainder is fees and legal and all those other things. So we take out the bond for the full dollar amount. Right now, the estimated interest rate is 3.75, and its term is 20 years max. You can't go out for more. The interest carry on that is about $7.5 million. So total bond principal and interest over the life of that is just under $22.5 million. Okay? TIF benefit.
I'm sorry, can I just?
Absolutely.
So the interest rate, I know that's in today, does that change over the 20 years or does that get locked in once we set it? So it's not gonna change very much, I mean.
Correct. There's minor fluctuations in a portion of that, but it is not it is not so much that it'll adjust the bottom line numbers. Yep. All right, the TIF benefit. Okay, so you have your total increment, as we saw above, at just over that 33.5, so 33.6 mil, minus your bond total principal and interest at 22.4 equals the TIF net. So this is the increment minus our debt obligations is what the TIF account will have, and that's $11.2 million.
At the end of the 20 years.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we make bond payments every 6 months, and so we collect, we pay, and then we have a little left over. We collect, we pay, we have a little left over. At the end of that, we would have had a little left over of $11.2 million. Okay. Years 2045 through 2048 have no bond payments because remember the bond is only 20-year max, but the TIF is 23. Plus you have one more out year for 24. So those 4 years are full increment, no bond payment. Okay? We have 2 IGAs with both school districts that the TIF is supposed to be paid off as soon as possible in advance of the 20 years. And the way that works is because we're a non-home rule municipality such as us, we need to prove to the underwriters that we have 125% of the bond payment coming in as increment. So that means there's automatically 25% more in increment that doesn't get spent on the bonds. It just says that we have to have it for coverage in case something terrible happens, right? In years 8, something terrible, catastrophic happens. We've underwritten it appropriately and we should have enough money to cover it, right? The strategy through the IGAs that we negotiate is that every 4 bond payments is 1 extra year payment. 25%, 25%, 25%, 20% equals 100%. So you do that for how many years, and then you get to pay it off in advance? Probably year 16.
Wow.
Okay.
That's the strategy. So then, once we've paid it off early, you don't have those last 4 years of principal and interest. Plus, your principal and interest goes down slightly every time you make that additional payment. That is the next line. Is that per the agreements? Blah 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 blah. Years 2040 through 2043 will have an additional no bond, adding almost $7 million to the already 7.6, totaling now just under 15 mil, so 14.6 million of TIF net. By paying it off early, which I'm a proponent of, and obviously the school districts were as well, that now we have $14.6 million starting sometime around 2040 to really plan and spend in the TIF. $14 million worth of investment in the TIF is what that is telling us, right? So that's why this is an advantageous deal, and this is why staff has been working so hard to get this deal done. Obviously, I just stole the next line. Staff recommends this. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously high level, but it is also a little bit in the nitty-gritty. It's not just we're going out for bond. Like, this is why we're even considering going out to bond. It is not a couple of bucks. It's almost 15 million bucks.
Yeah.
Wow.
It seems like a great plan. Is there other than something catastrophic happening, is there some issues that worry the staff? Is there any negatives that
No,
staff is
so
worried about?
today we just got final revision of the RDA from their attorneys after we had already given our comments on that document, and we are slated for a February 10th village board approval on that document. So it's
Excellent.
yeah, and that February 10th is what I talked about, where it is RDA structured so that upon zoning and subdivision, the village board will authorize approval of the bond sale. That's February 10th.
Okay.
That's when they get their rights to the build. That's most likely when we'll see construction plans within 30 days from that date. That's when it's really off to the races. So, and as you guys probably know, it's a contaminated site. There are dirty soils. So TIF eligible expenses, one of the first things they're doing is cleaning up the site. So here's, $2.5 million right off the bat to clean the site, right? So, and then obviously demolition, TIF eligible expense, all that good stuff. So
They are waiting for us basically to get our bond approval, and then they will begin, once the funds are in, they will begin their groundbreaking. What is the time frame for construction from?
So they're
Are they gonna-
an 18-month build.
Okay.
From
Are
the
they gonna
day-
wait till it's completely finished to occupy it all, or do they occupy as it goes? Or-
They are prepared to do all residential occupancy in one swoop.
Okay.
The commercial will lag.
Okay.
I might have missed this. Is this for 55 and up? I'm sorry.
Nope.
Oh, it's just
Nope.
open to
Nope.
everyone.
Market rate, no restrictions.
Okay. But they are all apartments.
Correct. Yep.
Rental apartment.
Rental.
Correct. Yep.
And I saw the parking there. Is it also public? Is it just for the people that live
The
there?
90.
The
Just
94
the
stalls
94.
are public.
You'll see it on
94.
the-
Okay.
Question.
Yeah, if you go to page, I'll get give me
Okay.
one
Gotcha.
second. Yeah, page 8 of the PDF, the 94 public stalls. It is the front square directly behind the commercial.
How many stalls were there
I see.
currently? I know it's kind of just like a.
Currently?
mishmash. Yeah, it's like
Oh.
a mishmash of just.
To grab a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Park where you want.
yeah. I mean,
It's about
So,
94.
Mark, I have a question.
yeah.
So, 406 total,
Yes.
minus 238 apartments, minus 94, public.
Mhm.
That leaves, well, let's go, 406 minus the public equals 312.
Mhm.
So one per apartment plus 74 extra. Are they one bedroom, two bedroom, what are they?
Sure, it's one per bedroom is the calculation on parking.
Okay, so the apartments are, so the apartments are gonna, maybe there's gonna be 30% that are two bedrooms?
Yeah, they have their own mix that's spread around, and it might actually be on these.
It's
I
on
tried
here.
to find it.
Yeah,
but-
10 of
They-
16
Yep.
shows.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's
thank you.
spread. Yep.
All right, sticking with the parking, so then I think I'm gonna know the answer, but any guests are then going in the 94
Yeah.
public spots.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if 200 and some, if half of them have a guest, that's all the spots filled up.
If half of them have a guest,
if half
yes,
of
in
them
that
have a
scenario,
guest.
yes, that is correct. Yep.
Are they going to be metered or
Nope.
time restrictions on them?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
Okay.
Free and open.
Do you guys expect, remember the,
So there's overnight parking in those?
Yeah, just like a village
Because
lot.
that's where the guests need to park.
so do you
In the
guys
94.
expect, you
Yeah.
remember the building that was on a park? And then the whole issue of parking, people had
And-
issues with parking.
Okay.
And how, it was one bedroom plus den, and then we felt blah blah. So, have you guys anticipated that there's gonna be issues with parking where, one apartment with one bedroom is gonna maybe have two parking spaces all the time because they have guests, and then how does that affect public, and then how does that affect
Yeah.
traffic,
No.
blah blah.
No, because it averages out the whole thing. You have one bedroom with guy who has maybe one car, right? Because sometimes people don't always have a vehicle.
True.
So there's that instance. But
Yeah.
then you also have the 3 bedroom where the one guy
Oh,
only has
there's-
one car.
Oh, there's a 3-bed, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
It averages. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So
But you
over
could
this,
have a one-bedroom with 2 cars very easily with a
Right.
Also
husband
true.
and wife or a
Yep.
couple or.
right,
anything.
right, so the 1 per bedroom on a project of this scale averages itself out.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Plus, it's there's the VPRC immediately across the street, which is 2 public parking lots as well. There is on-street, limited because some of the on-street will be going away. But if you're going to, say, the commercial corridor, there's parking directly on Villa in front of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can park there and not park in the 94, because actually that's going to be closer, as we were just
Well,
discussing.
and the VPRC is slated to, they're planning on using some of those. I mean, that's always been said that the rec center,
If they have
it's good.
tournaments or whatever. Yep.
yeah, I mean, there's gonna be times for sure where.
Absolutely.
With baseball games and activities.
Yeah, and keep in mind on
So that
VPRC,
94 is gonna be.
this is only phase 1 of the parking plan on VPRC. There's 2 more parking lots going up the eastern edge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well,
2
we'll see if
levels.
those are ever built. I mean, I get
Any,
they wouldn't build those for many years. I mean, it would have to be an
We'll see.
issue for several years.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they just built it. I can't imagine them starting construction again next year to build a new parking lot.
Well, construction is going to begin on the Oslet grant for the playground and the ball fields next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I mean, I
then
hope there's enough. I
anticipated
think the
for
parking's
the year
like-
after that for new parking lots.
Okay.
Good. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
More
so,
parking, I've always been a proponent over there. Anybody
Yeah.
knows that, so.
any site improvements that the city needs to do in the surrounding area, or like with Myrtle Avenue or anything like that?
no, all the site improvements are going to be a requirement of the developer.
Okay.
So they have to loop a new water main, they have to move a sanitary line. Obviously, the ComEd pole's got to be
Was it
moved.
done already? I thought
Some-
ComEd was.
Phase 1, there's a phase 2 that they have to be, that they're responsible for. There is communication with DuPage County regarding the bike path. Some of the old existing property encroaches on there, so they have to reclaim it back. There's just, it's a fun
Yeah.
little dance that has to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting. That rendering really makes it stand out when you look down Villa
When
Avenue.
it's
Like,
on-
what it's gonna, or from the south, the shot over kind of Ovaltine and that, I mean,
Yeah, I like the Ovaltine one. I like that one.
Yeah, that was a goodie.
gives you a real perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that one too, you can see the pool and the open.
Yeah, the open corridors,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so the pool's on the left or the west, and then the one on the right is like a courtyard with I think there's a
Oh, I
grill
see.
out there
Oh, wow.
and just chairs.
Nice.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So
another coffee
the
shop.
commercial spots all gonna be along Villa?
That's
primarily?
correct. Yep.
Okay.
And then the furthest north at the intersection is actually the leasing office. So
Okay.
it's technically a commercial space. They're occupying it, and it's going to look like activities happening pretty regularly. It's the lobby, reception, leasing office, that kind of stuff. And then it's going to start for the leasable commercial space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that seven, maybe you don't know the answer, is the 7,000 square foot, is that subdividable at all, or
It
is
is.
that, okay. it
Yep,
is.
it is. And the intent is that a 3,000-ish on the south for a restaurant, and then backfill the middle. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's where all that outdoor dining comes into play because it's
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Okay.
The fees per month, what is it called? What is bring?
Oh, the rents?
The rent.
Somewhere, yeah.
Where is that? I want.
It's not in this plan. It's not in this site.
So I don't remember.
Everything's market rate.
Let me guess. Let's guess.
Oh, boy.
Does it start with a 2? Does there all of it?
Two
start with
bedrooms
a 2?
probably are $2,000, I
Well,
would think.
what is Ovaltine right now? I would
Yeah,
say
what
it'd be
is Ovaltine?
Ovaltine plus a
6,000,
little
yeah.
bit, so.
Thousands, Ovaltine.
Is Ovaltine
I
all
don't know,
apartments too?
they have like 14 or different footprints, but I mean, so there's lots of different pricing, but I can't imagine that it's under, for a one bedroom is probably 15 or more, but
Yeah.
don't quote me exactly on those numbers.
I rented a 2-bedroom in Ovaltine when I came back to this area in 2016, and they give you they gave you at the time a teaser rate,
Yeah.
and that was $1,600
Really?
a month. But then,
Any,
because you can rent either by the month or 3
I don't see,
months.
no
Right,
public
right.
bicycle
Now I think it's
Yeah, there
storage or
was-
anything like
That's
that
probably-
for.
Oh,
Yeah.
on the first floor, I thought I saw a bike.
There's
out in the
bikes
corner.
for probably for the tenants, I would assume.
Well, I think everything for the tenants is second floor. You're looking at.
No, there's a first floor component in that
Yeah.
corner. Yep.
That's,
Okay.
Anything that we do will be out off of Villa up at the Great Western Trail connection.
okay.
Yep.
So we would, the
Yeah,
city
we
would-
have bike racks that we can
Okay.
put in as part of this. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. Let's see here. Rents. A lot of files
It'd be
here.
comparable to Ovaltine or more. Of course, because it's newer.
Yeah.
Right.
How old is Ovaltine now? 20 years?
No, like
I think
25.
25.
I was gonna say, it's
Getting
been
there.
around
It's
for.
getting there.
It's already been 25 years.
Well, we moved in after and we've been there
So when we
23,
built
so
the
they're at
house.
least 23 and probably 26 or so.
Their occupancy's obviously doing well enough that
Mhm.
they have this one coming
And-
in, so.
The company that owns the union purchased Ovaltine,
They're the managing
or
partners.
managing
Yeah.
partner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow.
interesting.
Yeah, so Marquette will be the owner operator of this, and Marquette is the manager of Ovaltine.
Wow,
Yep.
Okay.
that's interesting.
Naperville company taking us over.
Yeah, and Marquette's out of Naperville. Yep, they're on
Just
Water
look at
Street. Mhm.
Well,
So,
that's
which
kinda
is
why
nice
I
that they're
assume the
local.
prices are
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
similar plus a little premium.
Yeah,
for the
premium
newer.
for the,
That
yeah.
was new. That was
Are they bidding on
That's
the
exciting.
Ardmore spot too?
No. Let's see.
About how many retail stores will be there? Do you know? About?
So it's at right now we're at
Okay.
7,500 square feet of leasable minus the 3,000 for a restaurant. So that gives us potentially 3 more small. So like a Subway is 1,200. So I use that as like a guide.
Yeah.
So you could get 3 more of those. But obviously you can combine them and you get one more that's 24, and you can combine them all together and have a full service restaurant again in all of it. So just depending on what people want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
3,000 square feet's pretty small for a restaurant.
So how would any of this be impacted if Marquette sold their interest in the building at a later date?
It wouldn't. All rights would be transferable.
And what if the building went condo?
The building went condo,
Yeah.
then the values would be slightly adjusted because you'd have 240 something pins. And then so each one of those would pay their tax bill and it would still hit the TIF, and then we'd have to just calculate it differently instead of one tax bill.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So rents, I'm just dying to know.
Yeah. I know. Rents. Let's see what we got here.
You ready to move in?
Well, they'll probably, my guess is they'll probably change between today
Well,
and.
they've already changed since we began with them
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
the market has already increased. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see, how many memos do I have that say this?
Any other questions on it while we're?
Yeah,
Mark
keep firing
checks
away
in?
while I
Anything
keep
else?
scouring my emails.
All my questions are basically answered. Other than, I guess, so after the February 10th board approval, how long till the bonds, would it take to get the bonds to be, hit our bank so that they can start, I mean, estimated time?
45 days.
So we're looking at April 1st possibly?
Yeah, exactly right.
Nice.
Yep.
With the
Well,
start
we-
of building in 2025 fall?
One more time?
Are they gonna start, if it's approved, to the fall of 2025?
No, April.
April, May,
April.
June, somewhere around there, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're gonna
really?
start seeing demolition and environmental remediation,
Oh,
which
so right
those two
away.
things by itself are probably like 2 months worth
2
of
months,
time.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So right away.
And we're gonna lose probably that public parking lot then for the
Absolutely.
spring, summer.
Yep, totally gone. A full construction site.
It'll make it
Yep.
interesting, the concerts in the park again.
Yeah.
We've already talked to Greg. Already said, hey man, be prepared.
It's like 2 years ago again, all over again.
Yeah.
Start walking, start using your bikes.
Yeah. So I've got the rents. What were your guesses?
Okay, what are our guesses, you guys?
So I've got a studio and a 3. So then it
Okay.
obviously ranges
Studio's
from those
gonna be
two.
1,500
for
or
studio.
more. or we find out.
1,500 for studio.
Jeez,
Although-
higher.
Yeah, I say
35.
Wow, more than
Okay.
1,500
I
for
say
a
the
studio?
same. 15,
She said- he already said
1500,
higher.
35.
Okay.
To 3,500.
I
Yeah.
gotta increase the rent on my condo. and shit.
But not more than
Alright.
35.
All right, what's the studio?
So studio is 2062.
Whoa,
Oh my
jeez.
god,
And
how many square feet?
That's my
Three,
son's apartment
something?
in
Rush?
Four,
Oh my
four
God.
something. What's the studio? Yeah,
Isn't it?
and then 3,600 for a 3-bed.
How did I fill these up?
Wow.
I don't understand it.
Wow.
Mhm.
And only going up, so.
Well, okay, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom then?
So they gave us the range,
range.
Oh.
and then so it's in the
Yeah.
yeah.
The
The
studio's
studios.
550.
550. Okay. Yep.
Oh, 550 square feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, 550. Yeah, $2,000 for 550. Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
exactly my son's across
Yeah.
Rush.
Yeah, and for
Studio
the
for
retail, they're looking at 25 a foot triple net.
Oh.
It's pretty high, but it's the area.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You get a lot of amenities.
Ovaltine
I
sat
mean,
empty
you
for
get
like
pool
15
and-
years before
Wait.
anybody.
I did
Yeah,
not
they also
expect
have they have
that.
weird restrictions on their stuff too.
I got you.
But
I'm just
yeah.
saying.
I
Yep.
did not expect
Oh.
that.
19's high for around there, so 25 is gonna be
Yeah.
really high.
That's
So.
what I would
Mhm.
almost for.
Well, maybe they'll adjust it.
I mean, it's got a gym
Yeah.
and all that stuff, so it's got.
So yeah,
Very good.
everything has been third party verified with the consultant SB Friedman. They've got a full report that's going to come forward to go along with the bond sale that says yes, the village did due diligence, everything's good to go. No one's gonna, there's no nightmare scenario here. So
Cool.
yeah. So any other questions?
I have a question. When did the union first approach the city, or the village approach them? Was it several years, 3 years ago?
It's been
Yeah,
a minute.
Do you think they were holding out for the TIF?
They absolutely were. They first approached in late of 21.
When did they learn about the TIF?
They knew about the TIF at that time, but it was TIF 4 at the time.
Okay.
And TIF 4 did not have enough time left or increment to make the project pencil. So then that's why TIF 7 was created and TIF 4 got closed.
Oh, okay, good.
Starting the clock over again to
Yeah.
say now we got 23 years.
Which tells us about when Ovaltine opened, probably, because there wasn't Ovaltine TIF
Ovaltine was TIF 2.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so then do we want to take a vote on it? then
Yeah,
at this
so
point, if
we
there's
would be
no more
looking
discussion?
for a motion, a second, any discussion on the motion, and then
Yeah.
a vote.
So can I get a motion for approval on the TIF incentive redevelopment agreement for to recommend approval of a redevelopment agreement with Marquette Real Estate Investments LLC to incentivize the development of 100 South Villa Avenue for the Union project. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote? A roll call vote?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. Tony Odo, yes. Gata, Fani?
Yes.
JP Hotchbaum?
Yes.
Larry Calvert?
Yes.
Patrice Gallagher?
Yes.
And John Drogos.
Yep.
Okay, that approves.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. All right, that moves us along to public comments. There's no one from the public here tonight. Can move on to item number 5, commissioner comments. Patrice, start with you if you have anything.
I'm just thinking that this was a job well done here. So thank you to the village and the developer.
Larry?
None?
Got it. John?
Nope.
JP?
Yes, that place across the street that's gonna be Lena's, the wine bar. Is the owner still moving ahead on that? Do we know?
They were denied their liquor license.
Yeah, no, that part.
The building permit was finalized and closed, but we have
Okay.
not received a new business application. So
Okay.
it is the way it's gonna be for the foreseeable future.
Okay. I just have been thinking about it last couple days. Is there risk of that guy like having adverse action on the city?
There's
for, like,
always risk of a
yeah,
lawsuit, yeah,
for that?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
If people follow through with it is another thing.
Yeah.
But,
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
Mhm.
Okay.
We have not been served though. if
Okay.
that's-
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Anything else, JP?
That was it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna second, as far as the union project, it's been a long time coming. It's something I know I'm excited to see being in that area. And it does seem like it's been, thought through thoroughly, and it seems like if everything follows through, it should be a win-win for the village with wonderful new property in that area and some revenue generated, or TIF funds at least generated. So that's all I have, I guess, except for I would like to maybe next meeting revisit the retention visits, because time is going to fly by here, and we'll be in spring before we know it, although it doesn't feel like it today. So just something, if we can either put that onto the agenda or something, just to revisit that. Village board liaison comments. Michelle, do you have anything?
No, that's Deepa.
Oh, Deepa, yes, sorry, okay. Staff liaison
That's
comments,
us.
sorry.
You won't see Michelle after this for the next couple of months.
Why not?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So, do you want to say anything? Yeah. So,
I'm out as of Monday, so
Oh, okay, real soon, okay.
When is
Yeah.
baby due?
Monday.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Technically
you're
the
working till the
27th.
end.
Yeah,
Wow.
technically the 27th, but we're booting them. So
Okay.
yeah. So yeah. I'll just be me and Pat hanging out for the next couple of months.
Pat,
Yeah.
anything you'd like to say, Pat?
Cool. Yep. And that's all.
Okay. Motion to adjourn,
Motion.
second,
Seconded.
all in favor, aye?
All right.
Perfect.
We'll see.